Welcome to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. We're here for Monster Fridays, talking about the remake of the masterpiece, Night of the Living Dead from 1990, directed by Tom Savini, screenplay by the magnificent, legendary George Romero himself. And tonight, we have Ginja Ninja in the panel with us tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. How's it going?
It's really good to be here. Thank you very much for having me.
All right,
I'm
all
really
right.
excited.
I'm excited too, man. We've been talking about doing something like this for a long time, and I'm glad that schedules finally worked out. And yeah, man, this is a great movie to talk about. It really is.
hmm
All right. Let's see who we have in the chat, and then we'll do a little quick take and kind of give people a second to jump into the conversation if they choose to do so. We got my man Mac. Mac is in the chat saying the remake is great. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
hmm
Blucka's in the chat saying Tony Todd has one of the best villainous voice acting voices. It's true. It's
Yeah, he
very,
does.
very true. All right. Strange Monkeys in the chat saying, I am here to state the obvious. Tony Todd is the man. You are correct. You
Yeah,
are
he
correct.
is.
We got David in the chat too saying they're all dead, all messed up, right? Blucka saying, thank God for you guys giving me something to watch during lockdown. Wow. And the snow and the negative 33-degree wind chill. Wow, man. Hey,
Damn.
we're glad that
Yeah.
you're enjoying it, man. You know,
Yeah.
this
Right.
is fun to be able to talk about movies with you guys. Let's see. We got Marky in the chat saying amazing flick. I totally agree. Wolvie's in the chat too saying hi. What's going on, Wolvie?
Hello.
And hey, we got Neil. Neil's in the chat. All
Hey.
right. Reagan's in the chat too, saying, "Hey everyone, third stream for you tonight." I know, man. It's been a busy night. Barnabas saying, "Hey, what's going on?" All
Hey.
right. Okay, so let's do this, guys. Let's just do a quick take, just a quick little blurb of what you think of this movie. Um, Jason, I'll start with you, and then we'll just go to Kill and then Coriander. Just give me a quick take on what do you think of this movie.
I love this movie. I know there's been a lot of talk about the three remakes in the '80s. I think if this were done a year earlier, would have made it. It's that good. Like it's up
Good
there
point.
with if you had the Thing, the Fly, and the Blob, this would kick the Blob out for sure. I love this
Nice.
movie to pieces.
I
Yeah.
like that. I'd never
Nice.
really thought of it that way, but you're
Me
right.
neither.
If it was just a year earlier, it would have been one of those 80s remakes. You're right. How about you, Kill?
Look, Ben for president. Look, I mean, I love this movie, and Tony Todd is just great, and I'm gonna save a lot of it, but
Yeah.
Cooper's a piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm gonna say. I love this movie, and I love how this movie, just like the original, it just let's start it. Boom, you're in it. Don't ask questions because you're not gonna really get answers. At least not till the end. But you're
Hmm.
in it,
Yeah,
and it's a roller coaster ride.
absolutely. How about you, Coriander?
Yeah. I almost like this more than the original. I hate to say, but this is like really
Ooh.
good. And I love how they made Barbara such like a kick-ass character instead
Yes.
of,
Absolutely.
in the original, she's all frail and in shock. Yeah. I
Hmm.
like this Barbara much better.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything you guys said, and it's just interesting because this movie was in a way, and I said this was kind of like the revenge of George Romero, but what I meant for that was it was a way for him to really better a lot of the elements from the original, and obviously we'll talk a little bit about that too, and the whole idea with the copyright issues from the original, where George didn't make a lot of money off of Night of the Living Dead. And that was a sad thing, because he literally helped to invent a subgenre of horror, and didn't see a lot of profit from that. And this was one way for him to kind of involve himself. But what we're going to do, we're going to get going with our intro. We're going to take a quick second to get finished getting set up and letting people jump into the chat if they choose to do so. So for you guys in the chat, for you guys watching the replay, sit back, relax. You know what time it is. All right. Okay. What are you laughing at, man?
Just the scene with Barbara where she's like, "Is he dead?" And that zombie, it's like he's like the original Mr. Happy. He's just coming through like, "Hey, Mr. Happy in the house."
Yeah, it
I'm
was a
sorry.
good scene, man.
Oh, I love that scene.
There's so much to talk about this. Jason, I'll start with you since you're our guest. Um, Anything that you want us to talk about or start it off with, or story wise, anything you want to throw out there?
Where to start with this one? I mean, one of the things I
Exactly.
like about this, with even with the original, but focusing on this one, the actual trilogy, these are just real people. Like, they're not SWAT members, they're not scientists, they're not military. They're just ordinary people caught up in a
Yes.
situation, and
Yes.
that's what I like about it. That's one of the things that drew me to this film originally. Seeing
Hmm.
it in color, though, like, that just blew me away when I first watched it. And Tony Todd, he is the man in this. He is the man.
He is.
Because
He really is.
where do you start? Like, the special effects are so good in this, and being directed by Tom Savini, like, he's done a brilliant job with this one. And truly, it is a great remake, in my opinion.
Hmm.
I just can't say enough about it.
Yeah, it truly is. I mean, eh, yeah, I won't even get into that. But Kill, what about you? I mean, I don't know if you remember this, but I think, and we will talk about the original at some point. We did that on the old channel, but we'll do it on this channel at some point. But I think I saw the original. I think it was like one time when we were spending the night at grandma's house,
Hmm.
and it was,
Hmm.
one of those things on, and I watched it. But what do you think about how this movie started? It's obviously pulling in from the original as far as your boy Bill Mosley starts it off, Kill. And he's, they're coming to get you, Barbara. But what you think of how this thing started off and the parallels it had with the original and the differences?
Well, it's funny. Like, for me, this is a perfect example of how to do a remake and give us what we know, but then also give us curveballs. And
Yes.
I agree with Coriander. I hope this isn't blasphemy, but I like this version better than the original for
Hmm.
a few reasons, especially the ending. uh,
Yeah.
you know, but I love how it starts, and like I said, a few minutes earlier, once this movie gets rolling, which literally is about 5 minutes in, it does
Hmm.
not stop. And unlike so many other movies where they try to, I don't know, give you reasons for the invasion or give you backstory,
Hmm.
this one just, it happened because it happened.
Hmm.
And then and we're kind of on the same roller coaster ride as the actors in here. Cooper is learning things, but what, looking at the TV, and some of the stuff he agrees with it, some of it he thinks it's fake news,
Hmm.
but you just don't know what's going on, and neither do some of these newscasters. And I
Hmm.
just love just how the movie gives us scenes that I remember from the original, or pretty much the start of the movie and things of that nature. But then it throws slight little differences, and then it
Hmm.
throws really big differences, and it's like,
Yeah.
wow. And and the last thing I'll say is, it's not trying to, in my opinion, usurp the original. It's just
Right.
like, well,
Good
hey,
point. Yeah.
here's this version here, maybe for the younger audience that's just getting into this, but we still bend the knee to the original, and that's
Right.
still there too if you want that. So it's like, what flavor do you want? They're both great flavors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Real quick too in the chat before I get to you, Coriander. Marky was saying I was so young, my grandmother showed it to me. I was shook. Right. We got my man Jake. Jake's in the chat saying I love this movie. Right?
Yeah.
It's great, man. Blucka saying the banger intro. Yeah. Thanks, man. Marky, I love the opening. Thanks a lot, man. We appreciate it. Jake saying Barbara being a badass in this movie is a massive
Yes.
plus, plus, plus. Absolutely. Patricia
Yeah.
Tallman.
I am. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm Team
Well,
Barbara, like, all the way.
yeah. When I start talking about Patricia Tallman, it's just going to be ridiculous because she just brought so much to this role. It was just fantastic. Anthony's in the chat too. David, Neil saying, "I don't need a reason. If I see a zombie coming at me, I ain't asking it no questions. I'm running the other way." Right? But Coriander, to throw it to you, I mean, what are some of your thoughts of the movie, or anything that you wanted to talk about, or about the story? Because, like Kill said, they were doing similar things, but they also took some detours, which I thought was really nice.
Yeah, you got to remember you have Tom Savini directing this, which is awesome. And you
Yes.
still had George who was, he had some, stuff to do with this too. So
Yeah.
this was like the best remake. It's one of the best ones. Just like
Hmm.
Ginja Ninja was saying, it's right up there with Thing, The Blob, all those because yeah, it's really good. And
It is.
I love the effects, I love that it was in color. And yeah, like I said, I mean,
Look at that
if they only
guy.
listened to Barbara, right? If they only listened to her the first time when she said we should get out of here, they
Yes.
would have been
Yeah.
fine. But of course they didn't, and
Yeah.
it's a bummer. But
But
she's awesome.
let me throw this at you guys. I didn't expect to do this, but you threw it out there. But in this movie, we have different philosophies as far as how to
Yes.
handle this. We got the philosophy to run and hide, to feed on our own fears, hide in the basement. Then we also have the philosophy of meeting it head on, boarding up the house and being able to go one way or the other. But then we also have Barbara saying, "Let's just go. Let's just
Yeah,
take our
man.
chances. Let's just go with a shot in the dark." I think all three sides have some validity to some degree, and I think that's what makes this movie so fantastic, just like the original. Jason, I mean, what do you think of that? Do you think that that's a massive conundrum? And if so, what choice would you take, or what do you think of how these characters made their choices?
Oh, I mean, it's a tough call because they've all got different motivations for the reason why they want to do it. Barbara wants to get out of there; like she can't
Mhm.
see a reason to stay there. It's not safe.
Right.
Ben, he's obviously wanting to protect everyone, but he wants a backup plan, hence the
Hmm.
basement. And Harry, as much of a bastard as he is, he does want to protect his daughter who's downstairs in the basement, so he doesn't want to risk people getting in and you know getting to them. So
Right.
personally, I'd be out of there. I'd be running for the hills.
Mm.
There'd be
I hear you.
no stopping me.
Yeah, I hear you. Absolutely. How about you, Kill?
Hey, I'm out. I'm out. I love the scene where Barbara's just looking out the window and she's like, they're so slow. And even the
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
that they shot it, they showed you two separate zombies coming, to the house. They cut
Hmm.
away to some dialogue, then they cut back to those two zombies, and they're still pretty much in the distance. And she's like,
Hmm.
these jokers are slow. We could
Right.
literally walk out and
Yeah.
just walk past them. And
Hmm.
and that's the one thing that I find kind of like a tragedy of this.
Well, well,
Oh, good. Oh,
well, I was just gonna say one thing now, and don't get me wrong, I probably would choose that as well. But we got to remember one reason why Ben doesn't want to do that, or at least I'm assuming. You guys let me know what you think, because he said he knew that one of the safety zones or safety stations was a war zone. You know what I'm
right.
saying? So he literally escaped from a war zone to get to some sanctuary. So either one, he might be thinking, how far could we get on foot safely to somewhere that is safe? Because I guess the nearest safe area was overrun with these things. So he's either thinking that, or he's just hoping against hope that help is going to come. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think? I think that's why he was like, let's hold up here.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, and I get it. I mean, although, like I said, I'd want to run too and take my chances. I mean, of course, being the fact that it's, the day is waning and you're heading into nighttime, that's not fun either. But that's what's crazy about this movie is like there's all these different decisions to be able to that you have to be able to make. Coriander, what about you? What do you think about that? And of course, when they realize that the Coopers are downstairs with Tom and Judy Rose.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, all these guys, it's it's kind of good that they had numbers because they're all trying to work together, except of course
Mhm.
Harry, who's stuck in his own way, and it's the cellar for us, it's the safest, and blah blah, and
Mhm.
yeah, so they were smart to start boarding up windows. And although, was it smart though, because that banging brought the attention to those zombies and
Mhm.
it just
Yes.
created drama and death
Yes.
for like all these people. So yeah,
Good point. Yeah, they showed that scene where there was this lady zombie pretty far from the house. It was a great shot too. This movie had some great
yeah.
camera angles, but they showed her kind of walking sideways, and then you could hear the banging of them boarding up the house, and then she turns towards the house, and then she starts going. And I thought that was a smart thing to show, and also to make
Hmm.
you say, "Geez, boarding up the house is a smart idea to some degree, but you're also signaling in the zombies, you know." And
Yeah,
good God, man, it's just
the
crazy.
dinner bell. Hmm.
Mhm.
Yes. Yes, the dinner bell is being rung, and there are humans on the menu. Um, but Jason, once they meet up with, the Coopers and, Tom and Judy Rose, and they're hearing this story, I mean, what were you thinking that at that point in the movie, and do you think that the situation that they were in was sounding more dire, or was it the same?
Oh, it was definitely getting worse. Like
Mm,
you could hear it. The story that Tom's telling him about what he saw with his uncle Reed and everything. It's just
mhm,
bringing it closer and closer to home, where they
yeah,
know it's like expanding. Like it's here, it's there, it's literally
mhm,
everywhere.
mhm,
And I think that also sort of brought a bit of humanity to it. It let you tie into the character because obviously he's giving this kind of heartfelt story about how his Uncle Reed's just died, and then Cooper being Cooper, it's like couldn't have been. It was a mistake. No, 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 he was
right,
dead. And I liked it. I liked that whole scene. I thought it was really good to bring, I guess, Ben and Tom together, sort
mm.
of teaming up, whereas sort of pushing Cooper away.
Hmm. Yeah, good point. I do think with this movie, they had moments like that that showed some real tenderness to Tom's character, but also to Ben. Ben had a couple of moments, like we showed in the intro, after he literally obliterated that zombie outside. First of all, Tony Todd was amazing in this movie. He was doing a lot of acting
Yeah.
without a single word. And then, when he, did the little prayer, and it was like, you really learned a lot about him as a character in those moments. He literally had to kill a zombie for survival, but felt sad about it, and like Tom was saying, he couldn't bring himself to shoot Uncle Reed, kill. I mean, did you think about that for these characters versus like the original, or just in the mythology of this movie? How do you think that was serving the characters like Tom and like Ben and so forth?
You know, I did think about it. Like for instance, with Ben, you see him. He said, he even says, "I'm not from this town." He's very
Hmm.
level-headed. He comes in, and the only time he loses his cool is his interaction with Cooper or Harry.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And Harry is able to get under his skin. So
Yes.
it's like his character shifts just a little bit, whereas Barbara, she shifts from being, scared to being the strongest character, in my opinion, because
Hmm.
nothing, she doesn't waver, nothing gets
Yeah.
under her skin. She's like,
Hmm.
look, I have this gun. We need to kill them. I still think we should just walk past them, but okay, you want me to guard the door? I got the gun.
Right.
I'm your woman, you know.
Hmm.
And Harry, he's just there, just being a Cooper, only looking out for himself. His
Hmm.
character doesn't really change. He's that same way, and he's stuck in his kind of borderline abusive nature to his wife, and just caring about his own self-preservation.
Hmm.
Um, so it's just interesting to see these three main characters, each of these characters have their own ideas of survival. And
Hmm.
I hope I'm not getting ahead of myself, but just how one character doesn't want to go into the cellar, and yet his fate literally ends up in the cellar. you
Mm,
know, which
mhm.
I was saying that earlier, like thinking of some of this is kind of like a very much like a Greek tragedy. Like that in
Mm.
particular, like this one character, you know, spoilers, guys, didn't want to go in the cellar, but had to go in the cellar, and
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
and then of course Barbara wanting to get out, she did get out, you know, and said,
Yeah.
hey, you know, let me go back, yada yada. So it was just
Right.
interesting to see all of them, and then of course, you know, Cooper just being a piece of shit the whole time. You know, there's
Yeah.
no growth with him. You know,
Right.
he didn't change. He just always was. I'm just a piece of
Hiding.
shit. Yeah,
Mm.
they will hide, and
Selfish.
yeah, I might
Hmm.
shut the door on my wife too if she don't stop looking for this key. So you know,
Right. Yeah.
but
And by the
I enjoyed all the characters. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, and by the way, Tom Tolles, I mean, he was fantastic in this role. And Coriander, I know, you're a big fan of like House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects. So, this is Tom Tolles from those movies, and many others. But
Right.
yeah, I thought he was great as a foil in this
Yeah.
movie, and he had a lot of great scenes to really chew on. It was
Yeah.
great watching it. Um, what did you I mean, once the zombies start coming into the house and they start really, you know, um, you know, just piling on. First of all, what did you think of the makeup and the work that was done on them, and also the situation itself?
I mean, yeah, it's a sucky situation, and the fact that there's gas, but it's locked, that
Yes.
sucks too because somewhere in this house there's that key.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah, and I thought the zombies, they looked great. I mean, the effects were amazing. When you have Tom Savini, Evie, I don't know if he was I don't know if he was involved or just if there was someone else doing them. I don't know, but they were good.
yeah. I mean,
I thought the
I
zombies looked
think he
great.
oversaw the special effects team.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
nice.
I mean, once things started hitting the fan, you could really see how the division was just happening, like,
Hmm.
quick, because you've got Tom and Judy Rose that they're trying to do the right thing, but they're not ready for this. You know what I'm saying? And ultimately, that's what ended them. We'll get to that in a second. And like you guys said, Cooper was Cooper, and you had Ben trying to hold this team together, keep this plan together, and it was almost like he spent so much energy to do that he kind of forgot to look out for himself a little bit to me. That's kind of what happened near the end of it. But Jason, that scene where Patricia Tallman was shooting the zombie to show that it was dead, I thought that was a fantastic scene. When I first saw it, I was just like, wow. I mean, just when you think about all the zombie movies that there have ever been, even the Romero zombie movies, I think this was a really standout scene. What did you think of that scene?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie. The way, like when Magruder comes through and,
Hmm.
you know, Judy Rose is, hysterical that you shot Mr. Magruder. And then this other
Yes.
zombie comes through and it's almost snake-like the way it winds in.
Mhm,
But just the look on its face, like the skin color, the eyes,
mhm.
and like Coriander said, like Tom Savini directing, overseeing the special effects. If you've got someone like Tom Savini there, you want to make sure that your special effects are on point. You do not want to
Yes,
mess
Hmm.
that up with the master of special effects there. And it
Right.
absolutely.
was like it just looked really well done and just smooth. Like that's the way it came in was just smooth.
Yeah, I totally agree, and that was just great, man. Um,
Yeah.
Stra Strange Monkey saying, "I can't believe that was Tom Tolles. It's the lack of a mustache," right?
Right.
That's true, man. That's
I
very
didn't
true.
realize who it was too till tonight. So that's
Yep,
pretty sad.
yep. Good old Tom Tolles. Anthony was saying the sad thing is, had they all worked together, they would have easily survived. And that's what's sad about it.
Yeah.
That's
They
what's
should
really
have
sad
left,
about it.
man. They
Well,
would have survived if they
well,
left.
the Coopers couldn't leave though because of their daughter.
They couldn't, but
You
hey,
know.
I mean, it is what it is. Like Barbara said, we'll send help,
Yeah,
Stay in your
yeah,
basement.
yeah. But I think that's one thing, especially with the Romero, I want to circle back a little bit to Romero, because again, I just think it's just fantastic what he was able to create for this subgenre, the rules and so forth. And again, getting a chance to remake his own movie, with someone that he had trust in, like Tom Savini, I think it was just really, really an awesome thing. And Savini, with the respect that he had for George, he wanted to have worked on the original Night of the Living Dead, but obviously didn't get a chance to do that. Um, and I just think that this movie is just, it's a nice homage, but it also has its own things that it does. And like I said, I just love this thing so much. But let's talk about Kill. Let's talk about the game plan to get some gas for the truck. Now, when that idea came about, I'm thinking, all right, this sounds like a pretty good idea. You got a truck, you got a gas pump. They are looking for the keys. They find, quote unquote, they find the keys. First of all, what do you think about this plan? And in the movie, what do you think? How do you think? What did you think of how it played out?
Well, I mean, the plan, it sounded good on paper,
Right.
but when you're actually out there, not behind the boarded up windows and in the comfort of the house, especially just getting off of that porch right there. I
Yes.
mean, even Ben said that's going to be the hardest part, just getting off
Right.
the initial porch.
Yes.
But yeah, Judy Rose, she wanted to come. She said, I can drive. I've been driving since I was like 8. My daddy's truck. Like, all right, Judy, we trust you here. Judy, I mean, she did the best she could. Ben falls out the truck, and then they're trying to tell her, hey, she's not listening. She can't hear nothing. And
Right.
and then with Tom, Tom is like, oh, the keys, and there's there's flammable liquids, Tom. You look, hey, look, I am not under these circumstances, so
Right.
who knows
But
how
yeah.
I would do with these stressors.
Right.
I
Yeah.
tell you what, though, maybe switch the teams up. If it was Barbara and maybe Ben, I don't know, but yeah, the plan was a solid plan, but things happen, and
That's what
exactly
happened
that.
right there.
That's literally my look every time I see this sign,
Uh,
because he has the WTF look.
yes.
And Barbara has the WTF look from the house window, like what? like, you
Tony
know.
Todd is doing so much acting in this movie with great dialogue. He has great dialogue
Yeah.
throughout the movie, but
Yeah.
also just moments where he gives those looks, man, and you totally know everything you need to know about him and the situation.
All I know is, and this is the last thing I'll say, after he gives that look, that's when I wanted him to be like, God damn you! Damn you!
I love that scene. Yeah, man. The plan doesn't go well. Coriander, as this was playing out for you, because I loved your reaction to some of these types of things. What were you thinking? And was it believable that Tom could be so stressed out and messed up that he would do something like that in that moment?
You know, I don't know how to answer that question. No.
Just however you want to.
No. You know, to shoot a gun and to not have the key, I
Yeah.
mean, I wouldn't have tried if you didn't have the key to begin with, because what the hell were you gonna do, you know?
Well, it was the
So,
wrong, well, they thought it was the right key, but it was the wrong key, you know?
apparently, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just a bad move because, yeah, like you said, what the fuck? And that look on Tony Todd's face said it all. So,
I felt so bad for all three of them because it's like,
right.
man, the truck just blew up. What a cool looking
Yeah,
explosion too. And like I
yeah,
said,
and
Tony Todd,
mm,
go ahead. What were you
yeah.
gonna say?
Well, it's like I don't know what the hell he was thinking, you know, because obviously the lock is right on the damn pump. So it's like, what was he fucking thinking? That was just so stupid.
I mean, take the
Hey.
butt of the gun. Just like bash at it with the butt
Exactly.
of the gun or something. Now you done
Exactly.
just
Yeah,
you roasted yourself for zombie dinner. Yum, nice and warm.
Right.
barbecues
Exactly.
on the
Yeah.
menu.
Yeah.
Right.
Barbecue, right?
Yeah.
Oh man. So that really sucked. And good God, man. But then in the house, so Jason, I'll throw this to you. So in the house, you've got Barbara who she sees that and it sucks. And next thing you know, she's dealing with Cooper. They're fighting over the gun and all of that. I mean, what were you thinking at that point? What do you think Cooper's ultimate goal in that moment was?
Who knows what Cooper was thinking at that point? Like,
Good point.
what's going through his head? He just wants a gun, but for what reason? Like,
Yes.
he's going to go down in the basement, or that would have been his plan, I'd imagine. And
Mm-hmm.
but I mean that gun's up there protecting him, so why
Yes.
take it?
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
just think it was
She's
more of
good
a
with it
power play,
too.
like he just wanted the power, hold the gun, be the man,
Yeah.
so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it obviously backfired on him pretty bad.
Right? It really, really did. And of course, Kill, we have that fantastic scene. I'll never forget from the original. I know I keep going back to the original, but I mean these are intertwined. But the basement scene in the original creeped me out so bad with the daughter. So in this movie, of course, we find out that Sarah, well, we knew what was going to happen, to her. But the scene with the mother, Mrs. Cooper, I mean, first of all, take me through that, what you thought about it, and how it affected you, and maybe even comparing it to the original.
I mean, this scene is sad because, especially with the mom. I feel bad for the mother because,
Mm-hmm.
when you first are introduced to the Coopers, you don't even see her for a while. You just see
Right.
Harry upstairs being an ass, and
Yes.
yelling down to her as she's
Mhm.
watching their daughter who's, passed out, or she has a fever, borderline
Right.
coma. And then when you are introduced to her, she's like, okay, well, maybe we should listen to these people. Maybe we should help out, so we can all survive. So
Mm-hmm.
she had, her own survival instincts, but she still cared about the whole group. Whereas Harry
Yes.
really, I think really secretly, Harry really only cared about himself. But
Yeah.
okay, I have a daughter and
Mm-hmm.
my wife, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But the scene there, she's down there, her daughter comes back to life. She's happy at first, and then she's looking at her daughter. And I love the cinematography of it, because the camera is like right there looking at the daughter as she's, coming towards the mom, and then starts to
Mm-hmm.
kind of open her mouth and her eyes get wider. And
Mm-hmm.
you know what's going to happen,
Yeah.
because for one, Mrs. Cooper doesn't have a weapon down there. And even if she did, she's not going to brandish it against her daughter.
Right.
um
Right.
and for me, no matter if I'm watching the original or this one, it's to me that's a sad death for a character who, she wasn't a bad person. She was a
Right.
mother,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously the daughter, she didn't deserve what happened to her as well. So, and of course, just like life, these two members of the Cooper family died first, and of course Harry outlived them because
Right.
that's life. So,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I want to backtrack to, also Coriander, and obviously before the scene, when Harry saw the TV broadcast, I thought that
Mhm.
was a really interesting scene too, because the news guy was talking about what they think caused this and what's going on, but he did say the dead were returning to life, being reanimated, which of course,
Mhm.
Harry was against that whole idea. He was in deep denial. What'd you think of that scene? And did you get of course, these movies are always meant to parallel real life, but it made me think about real life so much. Did you get some of that? And what'd you think of the scene?
Definitely, because you've got the media reading this like they can't believe what they're reading.
Yes.
So it's
Yes.
almost like, am I supposed to believe this?
Yes.
So Yeah, and just like you said, it parallels with what's happening now. You've got people that think COVID's fake, and so yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, what can you say about that?
Right.
Media
Yeah. Yeah.
is can be misleading. So yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, it was just an interesting scene. What did you think of that, Jason? Did that scene because it seemed like Cooper was it was weird because the way that Tom Tolles he played it, it was like he was taking the information in, and I was wondering, does he believe it? Does he not believe it? I got the sense that it was almost like he was believing it, but he didn't want to admit it to the group or something. I could be way off with that, but it was just interesting the way he played the scene.
Yeah, look, I've got to hand it to Tom Towers. Like, he did a fantastic job. Just his eyes and his
Yes.
eye movements in this, like when they actually state that the dead are returning to living, his eyes widen. But then
Hmm.
it goes to the newsreader says, the CDC, don't believe this to be true. And he's like,
Hmm.
smug again, like, yeah, I knew it. And he conveys it really well. And it's very similar to what is happening in the media nowadays as well. Like, do you believe what's being said? Do you not? Who knows?
Hmm.
But he did a fantastic job just in that particular scene. And it gave him a little bit of, well, it was still arrogant, but it
Yes.
was done really well. And I did enjoy the part where he's bringing the TV down.
Hmm.
I thought he was acting a little suspicious, and I get it's movie logic. He's got to make sure no one's looking because he's the bad guy in it.
Yep.
But yeah, the fact
Yep.
that you wouldn't get any reception in the basement.
Yes. Yeah, I
I
actually,
yeah
yeah, that part got me too because I was for a little moment I was thinking, well, geez, maybe he wasn't going to bring it down there, and
yeah.
kind
You
of
think
felt
maybe there is something good about him, but
yes,
yeah, no, there isn't.
exactly. Um, and kill. One other thing I wanted to talk about when we talk about Sarah becoming the zombie and attacking the mother, and you guys let me know if you thought this, but in that scene in the basement, they show this camera shot of a spade. You know what I'm saying? And in the original, wasn't that what the daughter used to help, stab into the mother, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Am I okay? Because I was thinking to myself, that's got to be the little Easter egg, the little nod to the original, because they showed it like I think twice, 2 or 3 times,
Hmm.
Yeah.
and prominently on the wall, and I'm like, yeah, man, that's really, I'm sorry, I just get a little geeky about it, but also, Kill, I know you like Dawn of the Dead, but I could hear a similar theme that was reminded me of Dawn of the Dead a little bit. Did you hear that or Coriander?
Oh
Or
yeah.
because I know Coriander. Okay, I just wanted to
Yeah.
make sure
Yeah.
because I was
Yeah.
like, it reminded me of that, but I thought it was it was just cool because this movie is a totally different type of setting than Dawn of the Dead, and it was kind of cool to hear something reminiscent of that, but in this different setting, this farmhouse in the middle of Timbuktu, you know,
It
you
fit.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
It
where are
made the
they, man?
scene. Yeah, it made the scene
Huh?
that much more effective with that music.
That's a good point. It definitely
Hmm.
made it creepy and stuff. Um, but let's get to the finale of this movie because I think this is where it gets really, really sad. We've seen Barbara go through this transformation where she
Yeah.
truly gains courage, and we find out in the beginning of the movie with Johnny that their mother, who they were visiting their mother's grave, which is different from the original, because in the original they were visiting their father's grave, but
Mm.
Johnny was talking about how their mother it basically was controlling, talking about you'd be in a convent now or whatever because of mom and this and that. So she obviously has had a very strict upbringing, and you could kind of see that even the way she was dressed and the way she acted in the beginning. But now she's got this thing, this courage in her, and I thought it was so great to see that. Coriander, I know you're Team Barbara, but just tell me, I mean, as we were ending this movie, what were you thinking was going to happen to her character? I mean, the plan for the gas backfired. Cooper is
Yeah.
still being a jackass, and then of course Sarah
Yeah.
becomes a zombie, and we know what's happening. But what were you thinking about the Barbara and the story at this point?
I knew she'd survive, because she had it in her. She had it in her
Mm-hmm.
from right when she said it you know, almost in the beginning of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So Yeah, and I mean, there was even that scene where you could even see her like walk. There was this old woman zombie that was like right next to her, and she's just like walking right by it before she
Yeah.
kills it, and it just goes to show you that these people, and even if it was night, you can hide easy in the dark. A lot easier than in the day. So
Hmm.
they should have just, yeah, like I've been saying, I knew she'd
He keeps saying
survive,
they should have been running. They should have run.
right? Yeah, and it just, yeah, she went from this little vulnerable, woman who didn't really have, any, I don't know, like she didn't believe in herself, so
Right.
and she became this strong, badass woman that I wouldn't mess with her, man. She's wicked good with a gun.
Yeah.
Especially if that was her first time, she acted like a pro. She handled it like, yeah, she could handle anything.
She
So
really
when
did.
she overcame and realized her situation, yeah, man, you could just see that she can overcome anything.
Yeah, and but before she even left the house though, one of the saddest parts where, when she sees
Yeah.
Sarah and she's gonna, and of course Ben was telling Cooper, you know, shoot it, shoot it. And of course, now I will say, and Jason, I'm gonna pass it to you. I will say this was definitely a little moment for Harry because he's like, I can't do that. It's my daughter and so forth. And of course, that's when the shootout starts. Tell me what you thought of this scene and that moment for Harry, because I thought it was really interesting.
Yeah, it definitely was, and it once again it brings that sort of human side to Harry. I mean, we
Hmm.
know he's not a nice guy,
Right.
but he does care in his own way for his daughter and his wife, I would imagine.
Hmm.
But yeah, it was the shootout, and yeah, it just went downhill right there. It's like,
Hmm.
no, I don't like where this is going. I wanted, spoiler alert again. I wanted Ben to survive. I wanted him to live through this.
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah,
But then
I agree.
Harry just, yeah, it was a tough moment, to be honest. Like, but so well done. Like when
Mm.
Barbara pulls that gun on Sarah and Harry's like, no, and just, yeah, amazing performances all round. And
Hmm.
yeah, like I said, the human side of Harry, it's there, but not enough to make me like him at all as a person.
Hmm.
Mm.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was it was really, really sad because he didn't want to shoot his daughter, and you can understand that. Ben understands that you have to shoot shoot it because it's not his daughter anymore. And of course, Barbara's kind of in the middle. Ben saved Barbara by shooting at Harry, and then, Harry shot back. But here's the thing I want to throw at you, Kill. I think that Ben at that point allowed his anger or frustration or maybe his bravado get the best of him because he actually chased Harry up the stairs in a bad position. Harry had the, I don't want to make a Star Wars reference, but Harry had the higher ground. You know what I'm
Yeah, he
saying?
did.
So that
Hmm.
that really was the fate for Ben. What do you think about that? And of course, as we head further out into the finale of this story.
I mean, ever since these two met, it's been leading to this. I mean,
Hmm.
you even had Ben saying, I'm just meeting you, and I can tell I don't like you. you know,
Hmm.
and yeah, and once again, like I was saying a little earlier, this to me is the one character flaw that Ben had. Just the
Yeah.
sheer fact of how Cooper could get under his skin to the point,
Yeah.
like you said, Knight, that could make him do something stupid like
Yes.
give up the high ground and to go after someone who has the high ground
Hmm.
instead of focusing on what's truly still the imminent threat, which is the zombies that are pouring in, and they're right there.
Hmm.
It's sad. It's sad that these two men couldn't get past themselves to try to
Yeah.
work for the better good of the whole house,
Yes.
but you knew it had to end this way. At least with these two, and
Hmm.
Barbara knew it. That's why time and time again she had to keep kind of being a referee between these
Yes.
two to kind of tell them, okay, cut the shit, let's focus on this, and the one thing I'll say is, as far as Barbara, coming into her own in this. I put her character right up there with the likes of, Sigourney Weaver in Alien, or,
Sarah
Linda
Connor.
Hamilton, Linda Hamilton in Terminator. I mean, she really checks everyone. It's like, look, cut the shit. Like,
Right?
if you want to live, come with me. You know,
Yes. I
literally
mean, look
come
at
with
her,
me.
man. She's ready
Let's
to
just
kick
walk past
ass.
them. Yeah.
Right. Right, absolutely. Yeah, it was really really sad, and Coriander, it really is a bummer. But like Kill was saying, like Jason was saying, you could see the dominoes where they were going to fall. But tell me what you were thinking, and this is where we're going to kind of get to the end of this conversation. Um, but it even gets more sad to me. You guys let me know what you think. But Coriander, when she finds the help, what did you think of those scenes, and then where that all led to, and then of course when she comes back to the house, what do you think of how that all went down?
Yeah, I mean, when she came upon that truck and
Hmm.
she ended up, I can't remember if it was gunshots or what she heard to make her get in
Yes,
behind, get in back of the truck, and she saw her brother there,
yes,
and
she
then you
got
see
shot
the
at.
goons. Yep, yeah, and then you
Hmm.
see the goons, all these hicks coming out with their guns, and it's like I was even thinking, I don't know if I'd feel safer with these guys, or I'd just stay on my own. But yeah, she went with them, and to see what these people were doing and how
Hmm.
they were making it like a game, and
Yeah.
something to joke around with. It's like, this is serious shit. I wouldn't be
Hmm.
treating, it's almost like blasphemous. You know what I mean? It's
Hmm.
Yeah, so I just, yeah, this is quite the ending. And when she goes back to the house, and you see the guys taking the chainsaw to the door, and of course Tony Todd pops up, and
Hmm.
yeah, you knew it was going to end that way, and it
Yeah,
was sad, obviously.
he had a good send off before that, though, when they showed him in the basement lighting the
Yeah,
cigarette, tending to his wounds. He found the
yeah,
gas pump key too, and he
yeah, he
just
did.
started laughing, and it was almost like, I probably would laugh too, like, son of a
Mm.
bitch, the
Well, and he
key
was
is
listening
here.
to the radio too, and he was like,
Yes.
"Yeah,
Yeah, I was.
no, no shit,
Yeah.
yeah,
Just the
Yes.
way that
shoot him
the
in the
light
head." Yeah,
dimmed. The light dimmed in that scene, like it was just really well done while he was laughing in the background and
Yes.
everything's going
Mm,
dark. It was very much a good send off for him.
Yes,
yeah.
I agree. I think, and I don't know this for sure, but I think it was a nice way to, and this is just a fan talking, but I think it was a nice way to send him off, to kind of pay respect to him, and maybe even paying homage all the way back to the original Night of the Living Dead, because we all know the ending of that movie. I mean, to this day, when I watch that movie, it's just crushing to see
it's
Ben
a
survive,
it's a gut
get through the
punch.
yes, get through the whole night into the morning. No zombies are around. He is totally safe, and he gets shot. You know,
Mhm.
and it's like, oh my god, it's a gut. So it almost felt like maybe this was a little bit of a, you know what I'm saying, just showing respect to the character in a way, and obviously an actor of Tony Todd's caliber, to allow him to have, some more dramatic moments and weight. It was just fantastic. It really, really was.
Yeah.
Um, and before we head on out, and I'm gonna jump back with you for a second too, Jason, and then Kill and Coriander, but also just to say to you guys in the chat, thanks for hanging out with us. We see Grande's in the chat, big fan of Barbara in this movie, saying her uh, character improvement is the biggest cool thing about this remake, and I agree.
Yeah.
Um,
Same.
and saying he wished that she got more lead roles. She also was great in Tales from the Dark Side, directed by Savini, called Family Reunion. Absolutely, man. Miss Carter's in the chat too. How you doing, Miss Carter?
Hey.
And Strange Monkey saying, I do agree. Ben shouldn't have chased him up the stairs, right?
Yeah.
It's so true.
He would have made it.
He
Mm.
would have. Insane One says, hubris. Yes, absolutely. Lamar is in the chat too, saying, "Miss y'all. I'm watching at work, third shift. Laugh out loud. I know what you're
Nice.
talking about, man. Thanks a lot, man. We appreciate you being here." And of course, my man Grande, always with the great quotes. They're us, and we're them. It's very true. Very, very true. This one fits right in with the OG3 to me. I like it better than Land of the Dead, that's for sure. I hear you, man. It really does fit in with the original trilogy of Romero. I really do agree with that. Insane One saying, "Thank you all for reviewing this masterpiece. We appreciate that, man. You know,
Yeah.
this is fun. You know, this movie
Yeah.
is great, and not enough people talk
It
about it.
is.
So, yeah. Um, as we head out, Jason, and also just to touch upon this ending again, what did you think of the scene showing the guys just having fun with the zombie games and all that type of stuff? What did you get from this?
Well, I'm glad you actually mentioned that because I wanted to touch base on that with something Coriander mentioned about the music from Dawn of the Dead. I
Hmm.
felt this was very similar to where the helicopters flying over the people. You know, they're out there with their guns and everything, shooting things in the original Dawn of the Dead film. So I thought that
Hmm.
was a nice way to tie it in with that.
Hmm.
But yeah, I
Yes.
did really enjoy the rest of the ending, like the fact that they're there. There's a pig on a spit and a
Yes.
cigarette machine, everything. So you know they're all set up. They're all out there having fun. You
Yeah.
know, but I mean, it's social commentary has been a big thing of the film. So I don't know if that's some form of commentary. Don't
Hmm.
know, but yeah, it is a brilliant ending, and it is a different kind of gut punch from the original ending. That one,
Mm.
you really felt that because you're with Ben the whole way.
Yeah.
And this one, you get to see Ben's ending, you get to see Barbara's ending, and of course, you get to see someone else's ending as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Kill. I mean, hey, look. we we knew Harry was gonna find a way to to make it to the end. What did you think about this scene and Barbara's choice?
He's a snake in the grass. Okay,
Hmm.
because you have to realize though these guys, these Hicks or whatever, have been outside at least for hours, burning
Hmm.
bodies, drinking beer, antagonizing zombies, just being ugly, just
Hmm.
ugly behavior. And
Hmm.
he's still been in there hiding because
Hmm.
he's afraid of them too. Like
Hmm.
he might be like a city slicker, and he's like, I'm out here with all these guys, these country guys, and they're having a rowdy time out there. I'm scared of that. So he's scared of zombies. He's scared of the living. He's just a worm. And I
Hmm.
love when she sees him, the look in Barbara's eyes, like
Mm.
you son of a
You
bitch.
son of a
Like
bitch.
you
Yes.
you survived, and my friend Ben, who is pretty much the reason why I'm alive, because she met Ben
Yes.
at the
Yeah.
start of this, died
Good point.
just
Yep.
now.
Yes.
There was no doubt in her mind what she was going to do. There was
Hmm.
no, should I shoot him? She just saw him, and he's like, hey, Barbara, thanks. And
You
she's like,
came back.
yeah. He's like, nope. you know, and I loved it. And it
And I
was
will
so
say,
fitting.
yeah, and when he said it, you know, again, Tom Tolles, I mean, he's the villain, obviously. He's a jackass, you know. But the way that he said it, you actually could see relief in his face. You know, he was like, "You came back," you know, and again, you know, you're supposed to hate him in this movie, but that's why he's a good actor because he accomplished that. But even to have just those little nuances, I think his performance, like Jason said, like we've all said, his performance was so good, you know. And but she didn't hesitate, like you said, Kill. She was just like, "I look at this look on her face." She's like, "Look, it's time to pay the
Mm.
piper."
Yeah, you are not going to survive this. Nope.
Right? Yeah, Coriander. What about you? I mean, about this ending and just, do you think that Barbara's choice was the right choice? I'm sure I know your answer, but just to ask you of it.
He got what he deserved. He was a piece of
Yeah,
shit. So, it was only it was it was right that it was her who did it, because
yeah,
yeah, like you said, Ben should have survived, and the fact that he didn't and this piece of shit did. Yeah,
yeah.
and I loved how those guys, when they looked at him and they knew, you can tell that she just murdered someone. This isn't a zombie, you know, and the
Mhm,
look on their
mhm.
faces was like, wow,
Yep.
you know, so that just shows you that she's like what the hell's her name? I can't even think of it from Terminator. She's badass,
Sarah
Sarah
you
Connor.
know.
Connor.
So, yeah, man. So
All
yeah,
right. Well, and also Strange Monkey saying Cooper really thought he was going to survive after what he pulled.
yeah.
Exactly.
He's a
He
coward
was
hiding up in
he
the
was
fucking attic.
he was always trying to find a way, whatever it took.
Hmm.
Jordan's in the chat too, saying hi. What's going on? What's going on? And also Miss Carter was saying, tried to find it, no luck. Hopefully one day I'll find it streaming somewhere. Yeah, I don't think it's streamed. I think you can rent it on Prime, and it is available on Vudu. I don't know if you've seen this one, Miss Carter. Let me know if you have or haven't, but it's definitely worth it. It's definitely worth it to buy it
Yeah,
physically, if you
yeah.
can find it. But it is available on Vudu to rent or to buy, and it's absolutely worth it, in my opinion.
There's some
Absolutely.
really good special features on the Blu-ray if you get a hold of it. I was watching them last night, and they're very interesting.
Nice,
Nice.
nice. Yeah, I want to get the Blu-ray. I've still got my old DVD from years ago, so
I've got the original VHS still, so yeah,
Nice.
nice.
got a bright fluoro orange cover. It's my pride and joy.
Nice. That is
Nice.
awesome. Oh my gosh. Um, and Jordan saying it's my birthday today. Oh, happy birthday.
Oh, happy
Yeah,
That's
happy
birthday.
awesome.
birthday.
Happy
Yeah,
birthday.
absolutely. And this movie, it didn't do well. It didn't make a lot of money. I think it made like $8
Shame.
million. dollars. It is a shame. But it came out at a time when I think horror fans they were in that transition period, it seems like, and this was 5 years after Day of the Dead, and Day of the Dead, when it came out, didn't really, light up the box office. It really became a cult following of it after the fact, years and years later. But this is a great movie, and it's the type of movie that there's a lot more to talk about, some behind the scenes stuff too. According to Tom Savini, he only got about 40% of his ideas into this movie. There was a lot of struggles that he had with the studio, especially when George Romero was not around. So it's a fantastic movie. It really, really is awesome. So,
Hmm.
anyways, we're going to get ready to end there. We really appreciate you guys in the chat hanging out with us. Please give the video a like. That would help support the channel, and we'd really appreciate it. Also, leave us a comment. Let us know what you think about Night of the Living Dead from 1990. What are your thoughts on the characters? What are your thoughts on Tony Todd and Patricia Tallman and Tom Tolles? Let us know. And also, I have Ginja Ninja's channel link in the description. Go check them out. Fantastic reviews. And dude, we've talked a bit for a while. And first of all, I always want to thank you for the support you give to us. But
Yeah.
just to let you know, man, I mean, you got some really good stuff, and I think that just keep doing what you're doing, because I enjoy hearing the way you review movies and the takes that you have. It's really cool stuff.
Cheers, man. Thank you very much. And look, thanks for inviting me on here. It's been a while in the making to get here, but thank you very
Yes.
much. I do appreciate it. And talking about one of my favorite films of all time, like I said,
Yeah,
happy to be here.
absolutely, man. And and
It's a
and
good
we'll have
one.
to, yeah, we'll have to do it again. This was a lot of fun. The door's always open. I know you've got, different schedules going on, but the door is always open. We'll have to do it again, hopefully sometime soon. Seriously, that'd be great.
Definitely. That'd be
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. And as we head on out, Anthony was saying the first couple years, the 90s were kind of a low for horror movies. I can agree with that. I can agree with that. It was like a transition time. So,
There
but
were some good ones in the early 90s, and one in particular, which Tom Towles was in, The Borrower.
oh,
Don't know
I
if
haven't seen
anyone's.
that.
Yeah, that one always sticks in my mind because I used to read Fangoria and Gore Zone over in Australia, and because we didn't get those horror films that often, like I always wanted to see that, and when I finally years later got to see it, I was That was good too. But Tom Towers, he was actually
Nice.
good in that one too.
Do you have that physically?
No, no, it's one of those ones where I saw it on VHS years and years ago, but it was only a rental.
Ah, okay. All right. Yeah, that's something I might want to check out. The Borrower. I've never heard of that one. That's pretty cool.
Me neither.
Yeah. All right.
Me neither.
Cool. All right. Well, hey, that's the beautiful thing about movies too. There's so many, and I'm always
Yeah.
finding new gems. I mean, it's great. When you think about it, it's crazy to think that if you love movies and you love them for so long, and there's still tons and tons that you've never seen or maybe never even heard. I mean, it's fantastic. So I love it.
Mhm.
All right, guys, we're going to get ready to head on out. For you guys in the chat, thanks for hanging out with us, and we will catch you guys later. If you're watching this, if you're listening to this, you are the Night Watch. Peace out, guys. We'll catch you later.
Peace.
There.